Wisteria, an orphan girl, struggles for survival by begging on the streets, under the control of a harsh dick-faced church father who forces orphans like her into begging. Despite her difficult life, Wisteria finds solace in secretly meeting Marbaz, a powerful badass immortal demon. She can summon Marbaz by knocking thrice on an attic window after midnight. Their interactions, however, are often interrupted by the old fart, who threatens Wisteria for not earning enough money. Marbaz is deeply conflicted by the cruelty Wisteria faces. He reflects on the unjust actions of the old fart and Wisteria's justifications for begging, which moves some people to give her money out of sympathy. He relates to Wisteria's loneliness, pondering his own purpose as an invisible, eternal lolicon. To his surprise, Wisteria can actually see Marbaz, a revelation that initially frightens her. She has possessed this unique ability since birth. Marbaz is intrigued and reassures her of his harmless intentions, providing her an escape from her harsh reality through his stories. Despite warnings that his bedtime stories might lead to trouble for her, Wisteria insists on listening to them, finding joy and a break from her dismal life in them. Marbaz shares a story about watching Shakespeare's plays in London, although he personally finds them unimpressive. This leads to a conversation where Wisteria playfully teases Marbaz about his understanding of human emotions and his ability to transform into a human temporarily. Meanwhile, a demon hunter named Snow, along with his colleague Takenami, engages in a tough battle with a demon, underscoring the constant threat posed by demons in their world. The old man reveals his sinister intentions to sell Wisteria, like he has done with other orphans, to an aristocrat. This news devastates Wisteria, reminding her of her brother who was taken away under similar circumstances. She desperately asks Marbaz to help her escape, but he explains the limitations imposed on demons, which prevent him from intervening directly without a trade-off. Wisteria, understanding the rules binding demons, offers her soul to Marbaz in exchange for her freedom, especially since she has lost her brother, the only person important to her. Marbaz, being immortal, doesn't need anything in return, leaving their situation unresolved. Wisteria's situation worsens when she is taken by the aristocrat who purchased her. Her fears escalate when she discovers his penchant for torture. At the same time, Snow and Takenami uncover the truth about the old man and the rich lord's notorious activities, prompting Snow to decide to save Wisteria. In a thrilling climax, Marbaz rushes to Wisteria's rescue in the mansion. Despite offering a bribe, the rich man refuses to let her go. Marbaz, determined to save Wisteria, starts to experience physical deterioration, a consequence of defying demonic rules. He confesses to Wisteria that her presence has given him a new purpose in life, and a desire for a shared future. Their situation intensifies when the rich man's pact demon attacks. Marbaz, weakened and unable to defeat the demon without a pact, finds himself in a dire situation. In a selfless act, Wisteria offers to form a pact with Marbaz, sacrificing her precious eyesight that allows her to see him. This empowers Marbaz, revealing his true form as one of the 13 calamities and enabling him to defeat the demon. After the battle, a grateful Wisteria expresses her willingness to have Marbaz describe the world to her, looking forward to their future adventures together despite her sacrifice. In another part of the story, Snow discovers the injured rich man and, enraged by his cruelty towards Wisteria, assaults him. Vowing to continue his fight against demons, especially the red-haired one, Snow confronts a bat-like demon for information but ends up eliminating him in frustration. His determination to find and save Wisteria remains steadfast. Regretting his failure to capture the bat demon, Snow vows no mercy next time. Marbaz, meanwhile, takes the now blind Wisteria to a house he owns, where she struggles with her new blindness. Marbaz, adapting to their new life, takes on the responsibility of cleaning and maintaining the house. Wisteria, expressing her hunger, prompts Marbaz to take her out for food and shopping. He encourages her to try on various dresses, wanting her to feel beautiful. During their outing, Wisteria befriends Diana Blackbell, a kind woman from an elite class, and her guard. Wisteria and Diana quickly bond over their shopping experience. Outside, Marbaz senses another demon's presence and recognizes the guard, Nabrius, in his dog form. The story provides a glimpse into Nabrius' background as part of the 13 Calamities and his role as the watchdog of the Netherworld. After shopping, Wisteria and Diana wrap up their time together, with Diana expressing her wish to see Wisteria again. Marbaz then takes Wisteria to a fancy restaurant, where he assists her with eating and introduces her to new experiences, such as tasting seasonal vegetable soup. Snow, still searching for his sister, encounters a girl resembling Wisteria, but is disappointed to find it's not her. Wisteria, meanwhile, feels emotional while dining with Marbaz, grateful for his companionship, which reminds her of the meals shared with her brother. Marbaz, still in his human form, contemplates the danger posed by a loose demon, attracting Snow's attention. Snow, suspecting Marba's motives, confronts him in a restaurant. Marbas, revealing his demon form, suggests Snow meet him in a forest if he wishes to see Wisteria. The confrontation amuses Marbas, who recalls Wisteria's desire to stay with him while Snow intends to take her back. Angered by the situation, Marbas informs Wisteria they must relocate for their safety. Outside, Snow confronts Marbas, threatening him over Wisteria's safety. Wisteria reveals their plans to travel the world, but Snow refuses. After a very dangerous fight between Snow and Marbas, Snow hurls the bullet towards Marbas, but Wisteria steps in front of Marbas to save him. Marbas in the final moment saves her by taking the bullet himself. Snow realizes his mistake and hands over his sister to perverted Marbas, warning him to take care of her, and then leaves. Wisteria, accompanied by the immortal demon Marbas, arrives in Warrington, a city recently shaken by a monstrous murder. Despite her blindness, Wisteria senses the city's charm and looks forward to their new life there. Unbeknownst to them, Harriet, a young girl and contractor of the small demon Mori, follows them, setting the stage for a confrontation. Marbas encounters Harriet and Mori. Surprised that Mori's master is a girl, not a man, he disciplines Mori for threatening Wisteria, revealing their pact. Marbas then strikes a deal with Harriet. To save Mori, she must feed Wisteria and pay their restaurant bill, teasing Wisteria about her appetite. Harriet faces difficulty ordering food due to her reputation as a thief. She entrusts the wallet to Marbas, who places the order. In a private moment, Mori shares a secret with Marbas, who agrees to keep it. That night, Marbas decides they must leave Warrington for safety. Disappointing Wisteria, who has just befriended Harriet, they plan to visit Marbas' friend next. Marbas feels a physical change, hinting at his return to human form, which concerns Wisteria. She suggests delaying their departure and downplays her hunger, showing her resilience. Harriet visits them the next day, revealing Mori convinced her to come, hinting at a deeper bond. Marbas, ready to leave with Wisteria, dismisses further conversation. However, Wisteria's hunger leads Harriet to suggest they eat. Despite their financial constraints, Wisteria enjoys time with Harriet and Mori, sharing her experiences in a rare outing without Marbas. A flashback shows Marbas warning Harriet and Mori about Wisteria's safety, symbolized by tying his hair to Wisteria's finger. Harriet and Mori take Wisteria to various places, including a museum and a park, where she enjoys the floral scents and their company. The mood shifts at the river, a murder site, making Wisteria concerned about Marbas' reaction. Harriet reveals her backstory of resorting to theft after her parents' deaths and forming a pact with Mori. Wisteria reflects on her own life's parallels with Harriet's, recognizing Marbas' role in rescuing her. Harriet's reluctance to leave Wisteria behind, despite Mori's suggestion, shows her fear of Marbas. A monster emerges from the river, targeting Wisteria. Marbas rushes to her aid. The sword-crossed knights intervene, revealing knowledge of the monster's crimes. Taknami, one of the knights, uses a special sword to behead the monster. Mori suggests leaving the scene, but Taknami's curiosity about Wisteria's powers leads him to confront her. His sword shatters against Marbas' intervention. Marbas arrives, apologizing for being late and overpowering Taknami with his strength. The confrontation reveals Marbas' power, as he effortlessly intercepts Taknami's attacks with his hair. Marbas contemplates the nature of Taknami's katana, a symbol of the knight's determination. Marbas ultimately breaks the sword, showcasing his dominance. Amidst this, Harriet's true nature as a ghost is revealed. Mori confesses his awareness of her spectral state and recounts her tragic death and pact with a demon. Harriet's realization of her ghostly existence explains her isolation and continuous financial resources. Harriet's decision to give her soul to Mori signifies her gratitude and desire to remain connected to him. As she disappears, leaving only her hat behind, Mori is left with memories of their deep bond. Wisteria, moved by their story, relates to their bond with Marbas. He assures her of his strength, contrasting their situation with Harriet. Marbas reflects on human-demon connections, now shared with Wisteria, and is struck by the memory of Harriet's final smile, symbolizing the depth of emotions in human-demon relationships. In a stark, frozen setting, the mention of Wisteria stirs emotions in Lady Diana, who yearns for friendship with her but feels constrained by her social status. Nabrius subtly reminds her of the underlying motives guiding her actions. Simultaneously, Wisteria and Marbas are braving a snowy landscape. Wisteria, battling the flu and cold, struggles to keep pace, though Marbas urges her onward. Meanwhile, Lady Diana and Nabrius detect a formidable demonic presence nearing their residence. Confronting Marbas, Nabrius inquires sharply about his purpose there. Marbas, prioritizing Wisteria's ailing condition, rebukes Nabrius for his untimely interrogation. Within Lady Diana's quarters, Wisteria finds respite, and Lady Diana chastises Marbas for his inconsiderate treatment of Wisteria in the harsh weather. Nabrius, seizing the opportunity, mocks Marbas for his predicament and jabs at his newfound role as a caretaker. Despite Marbas' visible irritation and threats, Nabrius' taunts persist. Lady Diana, sensing the brewing conflict, requests their departure to ensure Wisteria's peaceful rest. Outside the room, the tension between Nabrius and Marbas escalates, almost leading to a confrontation. Observing a recovering Wisteria, Lady Diana ponders over Marbas' pact with her. In a contemplative state, Marbas reflects on human fragility, while Nabrius offers unsolicited advice on understanding human nature, advice that Marbas swiftly dismisses. Nabrius expresses surprise at Marbas' demeanor. Elsewhere, Snow rejoins the Night Order, discovering that a significant mission involving Lady Diana's house is underway, as decreed by royal command. Notably, even the commander partakes in this crucial mission, focusing on confronting a formidable demon. In the morning, Wisteria wakes up feeling cheerful and shares her feelings with Lady Diana, who gently tends to her with a silk handkerchief. Lady Diana, though pleased to meet Wisteria, realizes it's time for them to leave for their safety. Curious, Wisteria inquires why. Lady Diana reveals her family's ancient pact with a demon, granting their heirs the ability to see demons, a trait used by royal officials in court service. The Black Bell family, renowned for hunting demons and alerting officials with a bell, has established a notable reputation. Lady Diana believes her family is fulfilling its duty. With her brother now unable to see demons, the Black Bell name has suffered, allowing the Sword Cross Knights to capitalize. Wisteria contemplates disclosing her brother's affiliation with the Sword Cross Knights to Lady Diana, but is dissuaded by Marbas, concerned for her safety. During the night, Marbas visits Wisteria, apologizing for exposing her to the harsh elements and expressing his willingness to support her. Wisteria shares her worries about Lady Diana, who stands in opposition to the Sword Cross Knights, putting her and Wisteria's brother at odds. Nabrius, listening in, commends Wisteria's insight and stresses the urgency of their departure due to the impending threat from the Sword Cross Knights. Simultaneously, Lady Diana bravely faces Lord Stanley and his subordinates, who have assaulted her palace. Although intimidated, she greets them defiantly. Lord Stanley views her as a foe, but his assault is swiftly countered by Nabrius, who forcefully ejects him through a window. Marbas, leaving with Wisteria, notices her concern for Lady Diana. Nabrius successfully repels the attackers, but Lady Diana stops him from killing Lord Stanley. However, Wisteria senses a dreadful development when lightning swords target Lady Diana. Wisteria shares her fears with Marbas, but he seems dismissive. Suddenly, Nabrius is wounded, his blood alarming Lady Diana. The commander mockingly thinks Nabrius is dead and challenges Lady Diana. Defiant, she encourages Nabrius to rise, emphasizing the fight's significance for their family's future. Nabrius, resilient to death, stands ready to counterattack. He seriously wounds the commander, revealing his non-human nature, which astounds Lady Diana. The battle intensifies, with the commander inflicting grave injuries on Nabrius. Marbas intervenes, aiding Nabrius and instructing Wisteria to stay concealed. The commander, stunned by Marbas' arrival, realizes he's facing a powerful demon. Marbas reprimands Nabrius for struggling against a human, while Nabrius, irritated, strikes Marbas in frustration. Recognizing Marbas as a significant threat, the commander shifts focus towards him. Both Marbas and Nabrius, angered, unite against the commander, realizing he's outmatched. The commander proposes a truce to Lady Diana, stating he wants to avoid further bloodshed, and requesting her to convey his intentions to her brother. Nabrius, eager to continue the fight, is dissuaded by Lady Diana, who agrees with the commander's wish to cease hostilities. Wisteria, concerned for Lady Diana, is reassured and overjoyed when Diana confirms she's okay. The story then shifts to a scene where Lady Diana, preparing to meet the commander, instructs Marbas to dress as a servant. Marbas, confused and irritated about playing this role, agrees reluctantly to accompany Diana as her servant for the occasion. Nabrius also gets involved, dressing up as a master under the guise of Noah Black Bell. He playfully teases Marbas by referring to himself as master, much to Marbas' annoyance. On their journey in a carriage, Marbas takes on the role of a servant, tasked with caring for Lady Diana. During the trip, Diana instructs Nabrius to act like her brother for an upcoming meeting. Wisteria, part of the conversation, is curious about both Nabrius and her own brother's personalities. Diana describes Nabrius as hot-headed, contrasting her brother who is calm and adaptive. She appreciates Marbas' effort to dress as a servant for her. In the meantime, Snow is discreetly watching them with binoculars as they approach the commander's location. Nabrius Nabrius scolds Marbas for not properly opening the carriage door, and Wisteria, worried about Lady Diana, is told to stay inside the carriage while they're away. At the meeting, Nabrius introduces himself as the Black Bell family leader, surprising the commander who hasn't heard of him in elite circles. The commander is dubious about Nabrius' identity. Nabrius, unfazed, criticizes the commander's armor as being unsuitable for the meeting, displaying his ability to handle such situations with confidence. Marbas, observing quietly, admires Nabrius' performance skills. Nabrius boldly states their family faces execution for failing duties and aligning with demons, leading the commander to threaten them with death if they don't sever ties with demons. Lady Diana, angered by this ultimatum, is determined to defend her family's honor and refuses to comply. Wisteria, reassured to see Lady Diana safe, decides to stay on until the conflict resolves. Nabrius also commits to helping Lady Diana after sizing up the commander and his associate, Vivian. From a distance, Snow watches the meeting between Lady Diana, Wisteria, and the others, hoping it goes well. He notices Lady Diana and his sister Wisteria are similar in age and doesn't wish to confront them. Recognizing their honor, Snow is troubled by the commander's unjust actions and his inability to act against them, even though he knows the demon hasn't harmed anyone they sent. In their conversation, Diana speaks fondly of Wisteria's brother and praises Nabrius for acting as her brother. She reflects on her own brother's kind nature and his protective attitude towards her. Meanwhile, her brother, lying in the snow, hesitates before firing a shot at Lady Diana, but deliberately misses. Everyone around believes he missed on purpose. Snow struggles with his feelings, trying to convince himself he missed the shot intentionally, but deep down, he doesn't want to harm her. Apologizing to the commander for not completing his mission. Snow is aware his friends know he intentionally spared her, but he keeps it to himself. Snow grapples with the moral dilemma of killing demons to save people versus the wrongness of harming innocent souls. He focuses on the former to ease his conscience. Marbas, speaking to Nabrius, prepares for an impending attack, but decides they will observe rather than participate. Nabrius, disinterested in arguing, agrees. Marbas contemplates Lady Diana's situation, realizing that even if she wins this battle, she can't restore her family's status. Nabrius reflects on the irony of devils making sense when humans seek death. Lady Diana, longing for a life of honor, has released her servants, not wanting to drag them into conflict. Bored with his immortality, Marbas finds the prospect of battle entertaining. Wisteria, overhearing their conversation, believes they have a chance to win. However, they know a confrontation at Lady Diana's home may be inevitable. Despite the looming threat, Lady Diana finds solace in having Nabrius with her and laments the thought of Wisteria leaving. Wisteria, unwilling to leave Lady Diana to face danger alone, shows up at her house. Much to Lady Diana's surprise, she expresses her concern for her friend's safety, as she doesn't want to see her get hurt in the impending battle. Meanwhile, Marbas and Nabrius gear up for a tough fight. Marbas is determined to protect Wisteria, who is in the midst of this dangerous situation, while Nabrius agrees to assist him. The commander arrives, taunting them and anticipating a fierce battle between them. Understanding the severity of the upcoming battle, Wisteria braces herself for the worst. Marbas launches an attack on the commander, but misses his target, and Nabrius steps in to cover him. Despite their efforts, the commander's armor proves challenging, but Marbas eventually pierces it with his hair. Nabrius also confronts the commander, but gets injured in the process. The commander reveals he's prepared for the battle with new tactics meant to outwit them. When he tries to attack Marbas, at a signal from the commander, his allies open a box, unleashing an enraged girl who's frustrated from being caged. She's already caused harm to some of the commander's troops, adding chaos to the scene. Nabrius recognizes the girl as one of the infamous 13 calamities of the wasteland, who harbors a deep hatred for them. She launches an assault on Wisteria and Lady Diana. Marbas quickly forms a protective shield using his hair, while Nabrius employs his iron nails to fend off the commander's attacks. The situation intensifies as they all brace themselves for the escalating conflict. In a tense moment, Marbas confronts the girl who's been attacking them. She admits that the commander forced her into a pact through torture and expresses her contempt for demons working with humans by throwing a feather at them. Lady Diana bravely intercepts the feather attack, revealing that her family has a history of making deals with demons, and Nabrius is not the first. The girl, understanding her defensive magic can't be used again, realizes recognizes her vulnerability, but keeps it a secret from her enemies. Meanwhile, the commander, impressed by her resilience, sets his own house ablaze, a place filled with the girl's cherished memories. Wisteria steps in to console Lady Diana, reminding her of the importance of these memories, regardless of whether she can see them. This emotional support helps Lady Diana regain her focus on the ongoing battle, earning the commander's respect as he acknowledges her worthiness. In a dramatic turn, the commander attempts to kill Lady Diana, even though he has orders to spare her. A hidden assailant shoots at her, and the bullet hits its mark. This event triggers Lady Diana's painful memories of her family being targeted by the sword cross and the moment she formed a pact with Nabrius to survive. She remembers the sorrowful final supper with her family and her mother's advice to distance herself from the family name for safety. Despite her grief and the burden of her family's legacy, Lady Diana remains steadfast in her goal to restore their honor. She cherishes her time with Nabrius and implores him to remember her and the home they shared. Wisteria, witnessing her friend's sorrow, is deeply affected by the loss. The commander declares that with the pact's end, Nabrius no longer needs to fight. In a bold move, Nabrius decides to remove his collar, a restraint that hides his true demonic form. Marbas, worried about the consequences, tries to dissuade him. The green bird, observing this, questions the wisdom of such a risky decision, highlighting the gravity of a demon taking such a drastic step. Nabrius, after removing his collar, transforms into a gigantic dog, ready to unleash his fury. This transformation alarms everyone, as Nabrius becomes an unstoppable force, capable of causing widespread destruction. His newfound form represents a geological calamity, showcasing his immense power. Wisteria informs Marbas that she can still hear Lady Diana's heartbeat, hinting at the possibility of her survival. Marbas theorizes that if Lady Diana is indeed alive, their pact might still be active, which could be crucial in halting Nabrius' rampage. The commander's subordinates, witnessing Nabrius' overwhelming power, decide to flee in fear. Marbas, observing Nabrius' formidable form, recalls the last time he saw him in such a state. To everyone's surprise, the commander, who was presumed dead, reappears, suggesting that Lady Diana's consciousness could be key to stopping the chaos. He proposes that she be taken to his people for medical attention, raising concerns among those present. Marbas understands that to subdue Nabrius, a forceful and strategic attack is required to break his uncontrollable fury. However, Wisteria is unsure of how to orchestrate such an attack. Marbas explains that given Nabrius' immense power, only an equally powerful strike can render him unconscious. He contemplates transforming into his demon form, but without Wisteria's guidance, he too risks losing control. Determined to contribute and control Marbas, Wisteria agrees to harness some of his power. She removes a ring from his tail, enduring the intense heat it emits. Recalling Marbas' words about her being the key, she realizes their bond is what enables a deeper connection. Using her mental visualization, she focuses on a flame, choosing to pursue it as a guide. Resolved to both assist and seek protection, Wisteria and Marbas prepare to face Nabrius together. In his demon form, Marbas reassures Wisteria of his trust in her, and they brace themselves for the confrontation. As they engage Nabrius, he skillfully dodges their attacks. Marbas, reflecting on his bond with Wisteria, contemplates the unusual dynamic of their pact, where a human holds the key to a demon's power. Marbas, determined to stay with Wisteria, knows he must first deal with Nabrius. He attempts to use his fire powers against Nabrius, but the battle is challenging. Nabrius launches an aggressive attack, forcing Marbas to evade his powerful strikes. At the same time, Wisteria faces danger from Nabrius' attacks. Snow, observing the peril Wisteria is in, becomes furious with Marbas for endangering her. Snow, recognizing Wisteria as his sister, believes they should leave quickly. Despite her situation, Wisteria requests Snow's aid in battling Nabrius. Confused yet willing, Snow agrees to assist. As Marbas continues to battle Nabrius with his fiery abilities, Wisteria, driven by determination, follows a guiding flame within her mind. The ring she possesses has become a magical weapon that stabilizes Marbas' powers. Fueled by frustration towards Nabrius, Wisteria grows increasingly angry. Marbas, acknowledging their immortality, decides that existence would be uninteresting without Nabrius and successfully knocks him down. Snow, witnessing the intense fight, is taken aback. Even after a powerful strike, Nabrius manages to get back up, prompting Snow and Wisteria to consider escaping. Wisteria informs Marbas of Nabrius' surprising restraint. Despite his condition, Marbas is puzzled, expecting Nabrius to be on a destructive rampage. Wisteria suggests Nabrius' inaction might be linked to his connection with Lady Diana, a theory Marbas doubts. Amid their confrontation, Marbas skillfully evades Nabrius' attacks. Wisteria, hearing Nabrius' voice filled with sadness, grows concerned for Lady Diana, who is also able to hear him. Lady Diana fondly recalls memories of Nabrius, particularly his habit of having a book on his face, and she notes his perpetual boredom, reflecting on Nabrius' role as a guard dog. Lady Diana realizes that such a life never truly suited him. Despite his loyalty, she decides it's time for them to venture outside, breaking away from the confines of their usual routine. As the situation intensifies, Wisteria's condition worsens, causing Snow to become increasingly worried. At the same time, Marbas engages in a fierce battle with Nabrius at home. Lady Diana arrives at the scene, apologizing for the chaos caused by Nabrius. She explains that momentarily losing sight of him led to his uncontrollable growth. However, once she summoned Nabrius to aid her, his demeanor calmed upon realizing she was safe. Reunited with Lady Diana, Wisteria seeks guidance on how to help. Lady Diana reminisces about her time with Nabrius, likening it to a brief but enjoyable experience. Marbas then advises Lady Diana to exert focus and control to restrain Nabrius' formidable strength, emphasizing the urgency of the situation. Wisteria informs Lady Diana that she possesses the key to controlling Nabrius. They both embark on a mental journey to find a solution. In her mind, Lady Diana encounters darkness and the spirits of her family, causing her emotional turmoil. Her brother's spirit informs her of their demise, encouraging her to find happiness despite their absence. He leaves her with a parting gift before the spirits disappear. As Lady Diana grapples with this revelation, Nabrius appears, the collar around his neck restored. He collapses, and Marbas urges Lady Diana to halt her efforts. Despite her reluctance, a mysterious man emerges, claiming he never intended to reveal himself, adding another layer of intrigue to the unfolding events. The green bird identifies the mysterious man as the one in armor. The commander, recognizing Wisteria as Snow's sister, is puzzled by her and questions her nature and awareness of his presence. Wisteria, aware of the commander's long-standing involvement with the organization, wonders about his identity. The commander, surprised by Wisteria's intuitive perception, urges her to uncover his true identity. The commander shares his backstory, revealing he's human but gained extraordinary power from a three-eyed demon. His wish to be the strongest granted him eternal youth and an ever-increasing strength through battle. Marbas is skeptical, finding it hard to believe someone could attain such limitless power without a significant cost. Nabrius, content with his immortality, remarks that if he doesn't die, he'll continue fighting. Despite his extraordinary abilities, the commander expresses a human side, showing concern for his knights whom he has painstakingly trained. He is unwilling to see them harmed. Lady Diana orders Nabrius to halt their destructive path, causing the key controlling him to disappear from Wisteria's grasp, leaving Diana weakened and unable to stand. The commander plans to inform the Queen of Lady Diana's supposed death to advocate for the restoration of the Black Bell family's honor. Their success in halting a demon's rampage, albeit with the aid of another demon, is his rationale. He acknowledges the formidable soul strength of Lady Diana and Wisteria, which empowers them to control mighty demons. However, he issues a warning: if they challenge humans again, they will face defeat. The commander's final reminder is stark. Ultimately, in the age-old conflict between humans and demons, it's the humans who emerge victorious. Two strong demons, in their human forms, Dantalion and Citri, emerge. Dantalion is frustrated by the weakness of humans in war, finding their vulnerability unchallenging and boring. Citri, a demon from the lake, has lost interest in the ongoing conflicts. Snow is in London trying to enjoy himself despite criticism for not disclosing the alliance between Marbas and Wisteria. He is also responsible for reporting to his superior, Take Nami, with whom he has a meeting scheduled until 10 o'clock. Snow opts for a drink in a bar and encounters Luther, a war veteran who lost an arm and couldn't locate his family after the war. Intrigued by Luther's enigmatic presence, Snow decides to follow him, only to realize that Luther is aware of being tailed and has set a trap for him. Luther has made a pact with Dantalion. Citri and Dantalion both claim to be a part of the 13 calamities of the wasteland. Back with the demon hunters, Technami grows anxious when Snow doesn't return as planned. He sets out to look for Snow himself. Citri proposes Snow make a pact with him, but he refuses. Elsewhere, Marbas, Wisteria, and Lady Diana find themselves in the Tranquil Lake District. Marbas is alert, aware that the Sword-Crossed Knight has seen Wisteria and might target her. To protect her, he seeks Citri's Misty Incense Burner, a tool capable of altering appearances, despite his aversion to water. While on their way to a shop, Lady Diana and Wisteria encounter Citri. He shocks them with revelations about Snow, leading Wisteria to contemplate a rescue mission in London. Marbas and Nabrius arrive at the scene. Marbas requests the Misty Incense Burner, but is frustrated to learn that Dantalion already possesses it. Citri offers to protect Wisteria, but she disagrees. A pendant thrown by Citri, belonging to Snow, alarms everyone. Elsewhere, Technami ventures into a hidden alley and comes face to face with Luther. He suspects Luther has allied with a demon, especially after learning Snow has been tortured. Their confrontation escalates, with Technami managing to injure Luther. Despite his wounds, Luther's resilience and determination, fueled by his war experiences, surprise Technami. Dantalion watches with interest but refrains from interfering. When Technami's subordinate intervenes to protect him, Dantalion joins the fray. Technami ultimately sacrifices himself to save his subordinate. Marbas and Lady Diana find themselves at Charing Cross Station, actively searching for Dantalion. Meanwhile, Wisteria, determined to locate her brother, feels empowered and supported in her efforts by Marbas, who admires her resilience and spirit. Luther aligns with Dantalion's desire for war, revealing their plan to transform the peaceful area into a battleground. Wisteria, in her search for her brother, mistakenly approaches Dr. Watson. Despite Watson's knowledge of her brother, Marbas doubts his ability to assist Wisteria. Watson, perceiving the situation, advises Wisteria to cease her search for her brother. Dantalion and Luther watch the Sword-Crossed Knight members, while Citri notices Wisteria and starts to include her in his plan. He tells Dantalion not to interfere in what he is about to do. Citri approaches Wisteria, using his voice to captivate her. Dr. Watson picks her up and runs, fearing for her life. Surrounded by demon-possessed people, she is unsure of what to do next. Wisteria, in desperate need to save her brother, calls on Marbas for help and contemplates signing a new contract. When Marbas arrives and deals with the pursuers, Marbas apologizes for being late and assigns Doc Watson to care for the injured. Citri, watching from a rooftop, is enraged by Marbas. Determined for revenge, Citri attempts to attack Marbas from behind. However, Marbas, ever vigilant, easily repels him using the force of his hair. Realizing Marbas' superior strength, Citri decides to use Dantalion's powerful prototype tool. When the smoke clears, Technami, now possessed and turned into a demon, is revealed. Marbas tries to avoid Technami. Wisteria realizes Citri has trapped her in this situation. If Marbas kills Technami, it will make her brother unhappy. Enraged and determined, Wisteria and Marbas successfully undergo a limited release that impresses Citri. Marbas defends Wisteria, using sharp lasers to incapacitate Citri. Marbas is touched by Wisteria's support during the battle, but is aware of her fragility and stress, as the commander, now more powerful, suddenly appears and confronts Technami. He teaches him a lesson about being controlled by demons. The commander beats Citri severely, and is about to kill him when Dantalion intervenes, creating a smokescreen to extricate Citri. Despite their defeat, Luther surprises them by transforming Snow into a demon. Adding to the chaos, Marbas, seemingly weakened, becomes enraged upon seeing Wisteria's plight. The scene shifts to a fight with Marbas, where his opponents underestimate him, not realizing the extent of his dark, powerful side. In a dramatic turn of events, Marbas, running low on stamina, decides to use his limited release, transforming into the Beast of Flame. His transformation into a powerful demon, like an erupting volcano, shocks Citri and Dantalion, who are expecting his downfall. Marbas becomes a formidable force, unwilling to let Wisteria rest as she needs to awaken him. He fondly recalls their time spent in the church, launching a massive fireball at his enemies, creating a huge dent in the ground. Marbas doesn't wish to kill his adversaries. Instead, he desires to live peacefully with Wisteria. However, he must first defend Wisteria's brother, who has been captured by an evil demon. Marbas criticizes others for failing to understand the devotion behind Wisteria's actions. After expressing this, Marbas disappears. The scene shifts to Luther, lost in his war memories. He reflects on his family, which he has neglected since returning from the war. Meeting Dantalion, who is impressed with Luther's soldierly qualities and numerous injuries, they decide to make a pact based on their shared ideals. Dantalion notices Luther's family concerns, but also sees his intense focus on his last memories. Dantalion praises Luther's battle tactics, while Luther dispels his doubts, excitedly announcing he has found his rival in Marbas. Luther looks forward to joining the conflict and defeating Marbas, finding a thrill in the challenge. Meanwhile, Wisteria wakes up in the church, recalling her lonely past there. Marbas, who visits her, is the source of her soul's happiness. She is grateful to him for helping her make friends and insists that Marbas is not to blame for her misfortune. Instead, he brings her joy. She feels responsible for Marbas' injuries as he always gets hurt trying to help her. Marbas, perceiving Snow as arrogant, initially dismisses the possibility of friendship with Wisteria. However, Wisteria helps him understand the importance of family. Palms and Doc Watson, friends of Snow, arrive and inform Wisteria that Snow is deeply concerned about her. They decide to help them find Snow, taking on the responsibility of updating Wisteria about her brother. Holmes, aware of Marbas' presence and watching them, offers to reveal Dantalion's location. Marbas appears, eager to find Snow for Wisteria's sake. Palms explains his dual motives for helping. He is Snow's friend and wants to end the demon possession incident in London. Marbas agrees to prevent Wisteria from following him, allowing him to act on her behalf. Marbas is determined to save Wisteria's brother, recognizing her deep concern for him. Despite Wisteria's desire to accompany him, Marbas decides to go alone, now knowing the location where Snow needs to be rescued. Upon arriving at his destination, Marbas prepares to save Snow. Meanwhile, Dantalion and Luther encounter Marbas. Dantalion is initially thankful for finding their location, but is cut off by Marbas, who is there solely for Wisteria's brother. Dantalion reveals his intention to destroy the Sword Cross Knight headquarters. Luther, however, informs Dantalion that he has already transformed Snow into a demon. Marbas, deeply considering Wisteria's feelings, knows she will be upset about the situation. But Marbas is distressed, unwilling to see Wisteria in pain, and eager for vengeance. Dantalion is puzzled by Marbas' anger, expecting him to be happy about defeating their enemy. However, Marbas, unlike them, seeks peace and decides to confront them to stop them from disrupting his peaceful journey with Wisteria. In the ensuing battle, Marbas transforms and punches Dantalion, who is impressed by Marbas' strength but quickly recovers to fight back. Marbas evades Dantalion's attacks and fires fireballs at him. The fight intensifies, with both parties attacking fiercely. Luther is vigilant and deflects Marbas' blow. Dantalion takes advantage of Marbas' brief distraction and breaks one of his horns, a vital part of a demon's power distribution. Weakened and transformed into a human, Marbas struggles with pain but is determined not to upset Wisteria. Dantalion quickly dodges Marbas' attacks and plans revenge by targeting another horn. Nabrius suddenly arrives to join the fight, observing Marbas' miserable state. Despite Dantalion's eagerness for more battle, he is set on destroying the Sword Cross Knight headquarters. As Dantalion and Luther leave, they extend an invitation for a fight. Marbas regrets the turn of events, but Nabrius chooses to assist him, preventing their enemies from achieving their goal. Together, Marbas and Nabrius prepare to face their next challenge. Wisteria dreams of her childhood with her brother, recalling a cherished doll he made for her. She wakes up startled, reflecting on their close bond. Marbas discusses Wisteria's situation with Nabrius, determined to support her through her hardships as Nabrius did for Lady Diana. The next day, Wisteria's extraordinary senses impress her doctor, who notes her exceptional perception. Marbas takes her around London, though his descriptions fall short, leaving Wisteria unable to visualize the places. Despite this, she enjoys ice cream with him and thanks Marbas for his support, expressing a desire to see her transformed brother. At night, Luther reflects on his wartime experiences and his pact with Dantalion. He realizes his amnesia wasn't due to injuries, but a loss of purpose, and he no longer cares about past desires, focusing instead on the chaos he enjoys with Dantalion. Meanwhile, Marbas, Wisteria, and Lady Diana are in the Lake District, where Marbas seeks Citri's misty incense to protect Wisteria. However, their peaceful time is interrupted when Luther, transformed due to demon powers, appears with Dantalion, ready to engage in a fierce battle. The commander arrives at the scene, revealing his immense power and unwavering determination. Despite numerous attacks, he stands unscathed, impressing the deputy and joining their organization. The deputy, a formidable demon hunter, is ready to face off against Dantalion and Luther, demonstrating her lifetime commitment to fighting demons. Luther is at his limit but urges Dantalion to not stop. Dantalion decides to withdraw with his contractor, calling the battle a draw. In the headquarters, the deputy commander gives a motivational speech to her subordinates to prepare them for the battle to come. Soon, Dantalion, Luther, and a demon Takenami reach the headquarters along with an army of mid-range demons. Elsewhere, Marbas, Wisteria, and the commander travel together toward the headquarters. It is also revealed that the bird demon, Astaroth, is working with the deputy commander. They quickly disarm Takenami and turn their attention to the other two. She then has a flashback through which we learn the past of the commander and when she saw him join their group. Dantalion undergoes a limited release and makes quick work of the deputy commander and bird demon ladies. In a surprising turn of events, Takenami has regained consciousness and human memories and intervenes in the fight. Astaroth quickly picks Takenami up and flies away. Deputy commander, in a glorious moment, decides to sacrifice herself in an attempt to stop the villain duo from spreading any more pain. The commander tries to reach her in time, but unfortunately fails to do so. Marbas and Wisteria are confronted by Citri, who has brought a demonized Snow along with him. He claims that Snow is now his contractor, and to do that he had to thoroughly brainwash him. He turns into his demon form and sends Wisteria in a limbo that seems to be in her mind. She is able to see here. Citri arrives there and tells her that she is trapped and will keep respawning after she meets her end in this illusory world. Outside, Nabarius and Marbas engage Demon Snow in battle. Marbas is really worried about Wisteria. When Citri leaves, Wisteria begins to realize that this illusory world is not made from her memories, but from the memories of her brother. When Citri goes back to meet Wisteria, he finds out that for her, years have passed there, and she claims to have a way to stop her. She sees a flashback of what her brother went through all his life, where he was mostly just looking for her. Snow appears in a messed up demon form in the world she is stuck in and begins attacking her. Wisteria gets a small window of opportunity to call Marbas into the limbo with her, which she does. Marbas makes quick work of those who stand in her way. We are then shown these powerful demons past where they worked together under a master long ago. The master ended up becoming the infamous three-eyed demon. In a splendid display of power and wisdom, Marbas defeats Citri, and the latter decides to go home and sleep. Marbas and Wisteria then return to the real world, and are glad that they came out unharmed. Dantalion and Luther now face Marbas, Wisteria, and Snow. Dantalion immediately undergoes limited release and Marbas is quick to follow suit. A fierce battle ensues. As Marbas takes on Dantalion, Snow fights Luther to guard his sister from him. Marbas attacks with his special attack, Hell Lance, which shows signs of promising damage. Snow tried to talk sense into Luther, which enrages the former soldier. Luther decides it's time for a full release and Dantalion agrees. A limited release Marbas is not enough to defeat a fully released Dantalion, but Nabarius arrives just in time, also activating his limited release. He proceeds to attack Dantalion while Marbas charges up his ultimate attack. Astaroth and the commander join in to help out as well. Snow strikes Luther and destabilizes Dantalion's power. Marbas releases a stupendous Hell Lance that finally does the job. Dantalion passes away and Luther ends up losing his memories of the battle that occurred. In the aftermath, Marbas and Wisteria are finally able to travel the way they wanted and are joined by Diana, Nabarius, Snow, and Takenami for their future adventures.